Hey guys, my name is Nora Franch, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at CatholicMindsetCoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessedness Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hi, everyone. Today's reading is from A Day at a Time. It's the reflection for May 15th. Looking back at those last desperate days before I came to recovery, I remember more than anything the feelings of loneliness and isolation. Even when I was surrounded by people, including my own family, the sense of aloneness was overwhelming. Even when I tried to act sociable and wore the mask of cheerfulness, I usually felt a terrible anger of not belonging. Will I ever forget the misery of being alone in a crowd? Today I pray. I thank my higher power for the greatest single joy that has come to me outside of my sobriety, the feeling that I am no longer alone. May I not assume that loneliness will vanish overnight. May I know that there will be a lonely time during recovery, especially since I must pull away from my former junkie friends or drinking buddies. I pray that I may find new friends who are recovering. I thank my higher power for the fellowship of the program. Today I will remember, I am not alone. Amen to that. That feeling of being alone in a crowd is such a sucky feeling. I relate. I remember, I still feel it from time to time, being alone in a crowd where it's just like there's a wall between you and everyone else. And it's just a hard place to be. Like, people, human beings, were made for connection. We're made for a relationship. So our sense that something is wrong in that isolation is correct. The reason why it's painful is because it's not meant to be. It's not right. There's something off. Just like when our bodies hurt, it means that something's not working right. You know, when we have that pain of isolation, it hurts because we're not working right as like a human person. And it's my disease. It's my disease that puts that wall up, that blocks it off. And that's such the incredible thing about fellowship. I just remember at some point feeling like that wall came tumbling down in the fellowship of the rooms, in meetings, in hearing people say my story with their mouth up at the front of the room. And just in all of that judgment of things I'd done and all this shame about how I'd spent my time and where my life was, it just came crumbling down because I didn't have to hide and pretend I wasn't doing what I was doing, because the whole reason why I was there was because of what I was doing. The stuff that I was hiding that kept me removed from everybody else in the room. And so that is the beautiful gift of the fellowship, and it's such a strong component of program. There's something else that came to mind, that being alone, that wall, being alone in a crowd, the wall. I remember distinctly this image of the wall that I felt between me and God. That's my higher power. I call my higher power God. And I just remember sitting in one of the first home meeting that I really developed, just sitting there, and I had this image that I'm sitting in a chair And God is literally on just the other side of the room. But there's this glass wall, and it's soundproof. And I can see him, but I can't hear him. And I couldn't touch him. I couldn't reach him. It's me banging on the glass and shouting. But if you're on the other side of the glass, you don't even hear anything. You don't even notice that I'm there because there's nothing. There's silence. And that has been one of the biggest gifts of program. Was it cracked that soundproof glass, and eventually it started to shatter. And I'm still on the journey. I don't feel like the walls have been crumbling down and I've run into my higher power's arms and I'm perfectly content and happy and at peace. I hope for that. I continue to journey with that hope and in that direction. That's where I plan to go. But I do know that now when I talk, he can hear me. And I've heard too that unforgiveness is the greatest spiritual block. And this is a spiritual program. It says that in the big book. And I think for me, and maybe a lot of people can relate, but it was the unforgiveness of self. That was my biggest spiritual block to accessing my higher power. And I often I want to poo-poo that, or I used to want to poo-poo that, I have to forgive myself. But seriously, I cut myself down so hard. I was so unkind and bitter and mean and relentless to myself that, yes, that was the greatest spiritual block from the thing who made me. So I just want you all to remember that and keep that in mind with your own journey. And perhaps you're still in that place of feeling on the other side of the glass. And I just want you to know that even in that feeling, you are not alone. You are not alone. And you got to just stay in the rooms. It will come. It will come if you keep coming. So take it a day at a time. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. But more than that, it's important to me to give listeners like yourself a place where you do not need to feel alone on your 12-step journey. And for that reason, I've created a Facebook group. It's called Grateful Blessed Mess. And it's a place where listeners can go to add their own commentary on the share for the day, in addition to my own, and for us just to have a conversation or start a back and forth where people can find support in their 12-step journey. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you are here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.